Imagine walking through a quiet wooded area on a cold February afternoon and discovering a small cardboard box. At first, it looks like discarded trash. But as you move closer, you realize something is terribly wrong. Inside the box is the body of a young child. No name, no missing person report, no family searching for him. For the next 65 years, investigators would chase thousands of leads, interview countless witnesses, and follow one theory after another. Yet the identity of the child remained one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. This is the story of the boy in the box. Before we begin, if you enjoy true crime mysteries and unsolved cases, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Now, let's begin. It was February 25, 1957, just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A young man walking near a wooded area noticed an old cardboard box lying among the brush. Curious, he looked inside. What he found shocked him. The box contained the body of a young boy, estimated to be around 4 to 6 years old. Police quickly arrived at the scene. They searched the surrounding area for clues, photographed everything, and collected every piece of evidence they could find. The cardboard box itself became an important clue. Investigators discovered it had originally been used to package a baby bassinet, and they hoped tracing where it came from might lead them to the child's identity. But there was a problem. No one knew who the boy was. No parents had reported him missing. No school recognized him. No relatives came forward. It was as if the child had simply appeared out of nowhere. Investigators refused to give up. Thousands of flyers featuring the child's face were distributed across the United States. Police sent fingerprints to agencies nationwide and compared dental records, but nothing matched. Newspapers published photographs, hoping someone would recognize the little boy. The public became deeply invested in the case. Phone lines filled with tips from people who believed they knew something. Every new lead gave investigators hope, but each one eventually reached a dead end. The child remained unidentified. As months turned into years, people began referring to him by a heartbreaking nickname, the boy in the box. Mystery captured the nation's attention. Detectives continued working the case, convinced that somewhere, someone knew the truth. Little did they know, the answers would remain hidden for more than 6 decades. As the years passed, the case became one of the most cold cases in American history. Detectives refused to stop searching. Every few months, another phone call, letter, or witness would offer what seemed like the breakthrough they had been waiting for. But every promising lead ended the same way, with more questions than answers. One of the most discussed leads came years later from a woman known publicly only as M. She told investigators that, as a child, she had witnessed a young boy living in her family's home. According to her account, the boy was treated very poorly and later disappeared. Her story attracted significant attention because it appeared to match some details of the investigation. Detectives carefully examined her claims, revisited locations she described, and compared them with the evidence they had collected over the years. Although some details seemed consistent, investigators were unable to find enough independent evidence to confirm her account. The lead could not be verified, and the mystery continued. Other theories followed. Some believed the child had been adopted illegally. Others thought he may have lived in an orphanage or children's institution. Some wondered if he belonged to a family that had never reported him missing. Each theory sounded possible. None could be proven. Meanwhile, advances in forensic science were changing criminal investigations across the world. Evidence collected decades earlier, once thought to have little value, could now be re-examined using new technology. Investigators preserved the evidence carefully, hoping that one day science would succeed where traditional detective work had failed. Years became decades. Detectives who originally worked the case retired. New investigators inherited the files. Boxes of photographs, reports, fingerprints, and witness statements were passed from one generation to the next. The little boy still had no name. Yet the people investigating his case refused to let him be forgotten. His grave became a place where strangers left flowers and toys in his memory. Even people who had never met him wanted answers. The mystery had become bigger than a single investigation. It had become a promise that someday, somehow, the child would be identified. And finally, more than 65 years after that cardboard box was discovered, modern DNA technology would change everything. The answer investigators had searched for since 1957 was finally within reach. But identifying the boy was only the beginning. For more than 6 decades, investigators never stopped hoping that science would one day reveal the truth. In the early 2020s, advances in forensic DNA and genetic genealogy gave detectives a new opportunity. Experts carefully extracted DNA from preserved evidence and compared it with information that could help identify the child's family. After months of painstaking work, the mystery that had haunted investigators since 1957 finally reached a major turning point. In December 2022, Philadelphia police announced that the child had been identified. His name was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. For the first time in 65 years, the little boy known only as the boy in the box had his real name back. It was an emotional moment for investigators, many of whom had spent years working on the case. Some had retired long before the identification, while others had inherited the investigation from earlier generations. One detective said that although they could finally call the child by his name, their work was far from over. Finding Joseph's identity answered one question, but it raised many more. Even today, investigators continue searching for answers about Joseph's death. Who was responsible? Why was he never reported missing? Did someone know the truth all along? Authorities have said that identifying Joseph was only the first step. They continue to examine historical records, interview people connected to his family, and review evidence using modern investigative techniques. As of today, no one has been charged in connection with his death. The case remains officially unsolved. For decades, the world knew him only by a heartbreaking nickname, Boy in the Box. Now, we know his real name, Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Although the mystery is not yet solved, one thing has changed forever. He is no longer an unknown child. His story reminds us that even after decades, the search for truth can continue. Advances in science can give forgotten victims their names back and offer hope that unanswered questions may one day be resolved. What do you think happened in this case? Do you believe it will ever be fully solved? Share your thoughts in the comments below.